A warm welcome. You're watching Decoding Now and I'm Meghna Deka. June 12th, 2025. A day that Indian aviation will never forget. The entire world will never forget. 260 lives gone in 32 seconds. Children, families, travelers, all aboard AI-171. What was supposed to be a routine flight from Ahmedabad to London turned into a nightmare for many. The aircraft took off, and within 32 seconds of takeoff, it came down, crashing into a medical college hostel right next to the airport. What followed was chaos like few had ever seen. Families rushed to hospitals, investigators rushed to the wreckage, rescue workers sifted through debris in heat exceeding 1,000 degrees. And as the smoke finally cleared, all that the families of 260 souls had was to hold on to one promise of answers, one promise of accountability, a final probe report. But that was 365 days ago, one whole calendar year. But unfortunately, tonight, viewers, that promise lies broken. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu stood on the floor of the Rajya Sabha and said, I quote him here, that within the completion of the year, the report will be out. That was 9th of March. Today is 12th of June. The year is complete. The report is still not out. We still don't know what happened. We still don't know whose fault it was, who should be held accountable. What makes it even more troubling is that while families await this truth, they allege that airline has been quietly handing out compensation, not as justice, but as a legal smokescreen. Yes, that is the charge. They say, sign here, take the money, ask no more questions. The airline has, of course, clarified. Air India has clarified that there was no such deadline and that the kin of the victims can take their rightful compensation as and when they want, that there is no coercion. However, the fact is this. It's been 1 year, 260 victims, zero closure. All they have is a broken promise. Why is it that the truth is still hiding behind a legal smokescreen? Tonight we are going to decode what the victims' families are going through 1 year after India's deadliest air crash. We are going to decode for you what is the devil which lies in the details of the ex gratia compensation which has been offered to them, because we have a lawyer who represents 105 families joining us here on the show. We are also going to decode why the report that could finally give them answers is nowhere to be seen. Well, viewers, you can see on your screen the brother of a victim of AI-171. A year after the disaster, he's still seeking answers. He's still seeking some sense of closure. His family remains in agony. His mother still picks up the phone and tries to call her son. A son who no longer is in this world. Listen in to this grieving brother.
मेरे 4 लोग थे फ्लाइट में, भाभी, 2 बच्चे। अहमदाबाद से जो फ्लाइट क्रैश हुआ उससे हमें बुरा सदमा दिलो दिमाग में लगाया है। हम 3 फैमिली हैं, मेरी बहन है, मेरी माँ है और मैं हूँ। तीनों का इतना मेंटली इतना आया है मगज पे जोर कि हमारा कुछ दिमाग ही नहीं काम करता है। अभी एक सदमे इतना हुआ कि एनी टाइम मेरी मदर की इतनी तबीयत ख़राब है ना, आप बात ही पूछो मत। 24 उससे बच्चे को मिस करती है, इसके बच्चे को मिस करती है। मेरे जब भी मम्मी को बोलता हूँ, मम्मी किससे बात करी है फ़ोन पर, मम्मी ऐसा बोलती है, तेरा भाई है ना गिरीश से बात करी हो, गिरीश आने वाला है अभी, गिरीश आएगा।
Heartbreaking to hear that. The next case study we get for you. The wife of a victim of the airplane crash, married for just 3 months when her dream turned into a nightmare. 3 months of marriage and then a lifetime of grief. This young widow on your screens is still fighting, not just for closure, but for her truth. Her demand to the investigators are simple: disclose the black box data. Listen to what she has to say.
सरकार को एक ही मांग है कि ये इंसिडेंट के लिए जो हम लोग बार बार वीडियो मतलब मीडिया में दे रहे हैं कि हमें इन्फॉर्मेशन चाहिए कि इंसिडेंट क्यों हुआ, ब्लैक बॉक्स का डेटा AI-171 से जो गोइंग कंपनी है उससे क्या इंसिडेंट हुआ जिसकी वजह से ये हुआ, वो सही जानकारी हमें पहले तो चाहिए, वही मांग है।
She is not the only one. You can see on your screens a family member of Parvez Vora who flew in from London with his young daughter for a dental appointment. Back in London, his pregnant wife waited for her daughter and her husband to return, but they never did. Within 32 seconds of takeoff, both father and daughter were gone. A year later, this family is still waiting for answers.
ये जो अहमदाबाद में 12 जून 2025 को जो फ्लाइट क्रैश हुई उसमें मेरे फैमिली के 3 मेंबर हैं। एक का नाम मेरा सबसे बड़ा भाई परवेज वोरा, मेरे से बड़ा है। दूसरा मेरे भाई की डॉटर 3 साल 8 महीने की है, जुवेरिया वोरा। और मेरे मौसी यास्मीन जी वोरा 50 साल के हैं। वो दोनों ट्रैवल कर रहे थे। तो 12 जून को मैं सीधा 20 मिनट में अराउंड 20 किलोमीटर के डिस्टेंस पे था। 15 से 17 मिनट में अहमदाबाद सिविल में मैं पहुँचा हूँ विद फैमिली। वहाँ पे हफड़ा थफड़ी चल रही थी। जो ग्राउंड में जो बचे हुए थे उन लोग को हॉस्पिटल लाया जा रहा था। भाग दौड़ी बहुत सी थी, बहुत सी पब्लिक भी वहाँ पे अवेलेबल थी। तब तक हमें पता नहीं था कि सब डेथ हो चुके हैं, इसलिए हम उन लोग को जिंदा ढूंढ रहे थे। 12 तारीख को रात को अप्रॉक्स 9 से 10 बजे के तकरीबन ये पता चला कि सभी की डेथ हो चुकी है। जब हमें DNA सैंपल देने के लिए बुलाया गया तब जाके हमको पता चला कि सब एक्सपायर हो चुके हैं। हमारी पहले से लेके अभी तक एक ही मांग रही है कि हमको ब्लैक बॉक्स के डेटा ट्रांसपेरेंसी के साथ दिया जाए, या तो कोई रिपोर्ट आ रही है तो वो भी ट्रांसपेरेंसी के साथ आए जिससे हमें सच का पता चले।
Then there are these parents. They lost their 15-year-old son, a boy with his whole life ahead of him. A future full of promises gone in 32 seconds. The father stood there and witnessed it all. The mother suffered burn injuries trying to reach him. A year has passed, but for this family, the wounds are anything but healed. Listen in to what they have to say.
वहाँ पे मैं लड़के को टिफिन लेकर भेजा था और मैं ऑटो रिक्शा लेकर नज़दीक में गया था पैसेंजर उतारने। और वहाँ पे इतना ब्लास्ट हुआ ना, तो जाने के बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हुआ ना, ऐसा हुआ काला काला धुआं इतना बड़ा निकला, तो जाने के बहुत बड़ा हादसा ना हुआ। तो मैंने बोला मैं अपने एरिया के अंदर मैं वापस पैसेंजर उतार के वापस गया। वहाँ पे जाकर देखा तो ऐसे धुआं था ना, जाने इतना अग्नि थी अंदर जा नहीं सकते थे। मैं गया वहाँ पे इमरजेंसी के अंदर गया तो बदली मैंने बोला कहाँ पे तेरी चाची की, मेरी चाची को बोला ऊपर दाखिल किया है। मैंने कहा बोला गड्ढू, तो गड्ढू के अंदर का पोस्टमार्टम के अंदर ले गया। जैसे पोस्टमार्टम का नाम ऐसे मालूम पड़ गया, मैंने बोला गड्ढू चला गया।
Well, now the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has issued an interim statement on the probe. The AAIB now says that investigators have made substantial progress, but key aspects of the investigation are still under review. Essentially, nothing conclusive. And this includes the flight data and the aircraft systems. That's going to be critical anyways to the probe. Well, the agency has reiterated that the investigation is being carried out in accordance with international standards and stressed that a final report will only be released once the probe is fully complete and not now, 1 year later. Well, the AAIB has also urged the public and the media to avoid drawing premature conclusions, emphasizing that the investigation is still ongoing. Let me go across to Arunil. Arunil, today you are joining us from a place where you have all the family members who are there. From the very accident site in Ahmedabad where this tragedy had happened, 1 year on, you have family members with them. When you told them first that even now the ministry is saying, the AAIB is saying that there is going to be no probe report released, how do they react to it?
Well, Meghna, at present I'm reporting from outside the crash site. You can see emotional the crash site, grieving family members reaching out over here, all of them paying emotional tributes to their loved ones who are no more with them. Now with me are some of the family members. We'll try and speak to them. Sir, basically you've also lost your mother-in-law, your wife has lost her mother. AIB after a year has given out an interim statement. As per protocol, they had to give out a full-fledged report exactly what happened in that ill-fated flight. What do you have to say about it?
Basically, it seriously creates a question like what they are hiding, why there is lack of transparency between Air India and the people, because more than 260 family lost their loved ones and they all are in dilemma. They all are questioning on the daily basis. Even we tried to question to Air India. We told them to drop us, to revert us, but I don't know why they are hiding important facts. It's a high time. It's almost 365 days. I don't know now what more they want to investigate.
Ma'am, what do you want to say? You have also lost your mother in this horrific, tragic plane crash. Only an interim statement given out after 365 days now. How do you feel about it?
It's totally disappointing, firstly, and there is a fault. Technical, you can say technical fault, or you can say Air India's fault. Whatever I said, there was problem with aircraft. Firstly, the aircraft should not be allowed to fly. Okay, they allowed. How a staff member, the people who are working technically, how they can allow this?
We'll also speak to some more people, grieving family members, sir. Only an interim statement being given out. Full-fledged final report, which was awaited today, not being released by the AIB. How do you feel it is disappointing?
एक्चुअली हम लोग भी आज का वेट कर रहे थे कि बिकॉज हमने देखा कि आज फाइनल रिपोर्ट आएगा और अभी तक जो आया नहीं है। बस हम यही एक देख रहे हैं कि एक्चुअली फाइनल रिपोर्ट हमारे लिए फाइनल क्या है। हमारे लिए फाइनल ये है कि हमारी बहन आज साथ में नहीं है हमारे। अब रिपोर्ट में क्या आता है क्या नहीं आता है ये तो अब वो जो रिपोर्ट बना रहे हैं ना उनको पता होगा, लेकिन हम वेट में हैं। एटलीस्ट हम ये जान सकें कि एक्चुअली में हुआ क्या था। वो एक है क्यूरियोसिटी है कि हम जानना चाहते हैं कि कैसे, मतलब कैसे दोनों इंजन एक साथ फेल हो गए, कैसे हो सकता है इसे। वो एक है
only within 32 seconds when the plane took off from the Ahmedabad airport, it crashed here at the hostel of BJ Medical College hostel.
As this man just spoke, kaise hua ye? How did it happen that two engines failed in this manner? But let's take a closer look at the preliminary report and what it said. It said that the fuel switches moved to cut-off position, that both the aircraft engines lost fuel supply, that double engine failure caused this crash. Switches shifted seconds after liftoff and switched off. Pilots expressed confusion over who gave the cut-off signal. In fact, you have the ram air turbine which was deployed immediately. Emergency locator transmitter failed to activate. Well, this is what the accident report, the preliminary report said. But let's also take a look at the key questions. All these questions which still remain. First question, why did the fuel control switches move from run to cut-off position? Did the system fail or was it a human error? What happened inside the cockpit seconds before the crash? What triggered the deployment of ram air turbine seconds after the takeoff? Did the aircraft suffer an undisclosed technical defect? A very critical point. Now Air India has released a statement responding to claims made by the victims' families where they felt that they were being pressurized by the airlines. Air India clarifies saying 96% of the families have received interim financial aid, that 25 lakh rupees interim compensation has been paid to the families, that no deadline for the families to accept a compensation has been set, that the Tata Group has released 1 crore to 91% of the affected families. In fact, belongings of 139 out of 187 victims have been returned as well, that 16 of the 25 recovered digital devices also have been handed over. So what really is the problem? The problem is that there are still the promise of a closure which will only come if there is full disclosure, which hasn't happened. Let me go across to attorney Chuck N. Chionuma. He's a lawyer who represents 135 families of that ill-fated Air India flight. Thank you so much. Appreciated, Mr. Chionuma, for joining us here on the show, because questions still continue. And right before I do the show, barely 10 minutes back, you had the preliminary report coming in, AIB now saying that we need more time, no final answers are going to come. What does it mean to the family members who've been waiting for 365 days to get answers?
Clearly, it deepens their agony. This is very unfair. It's imaginable what kind of suffering these families are going through, and leaving the question of what really happened unanswered makes it much worse. We hope that AIB will get on the ball and get the answers out so that we can now assess where the faults lie and give the families closure as to what really happened here to their loved ones.
Mr. Chionuma, I must understand the proposed settlement terms. If you can explain that to our viewers as well, because I believe it says that Air India must be released, Air India and all the other parties. This includes the manufacturers, operators, government entities. All of them must be released by the families from all current and future liabilities if they accept this ex gratia. Can you explain what that means and why you have a problem with that?
Yes, it's very sweeping, to say the least. It releases Air India, as you said, of current and future liabilities. In addition to that, it releases everybody else, every company, every governmental entity, every manufacturer, every supplier across the globe from any further liability regarding this matter. In addition to that, it requires the families to indemnify every one of these players across the globe if anybody should bring any claim against them. That is draconian, that is unfair, and all of that is happening even before we know what really happened in the crash. Without that kind of information, without the truth being known, we've advised our clients not to sign any of those kind of releases or indemnification agreements.
Just to get it clear, what has been offered and put on the table is you sign away your right to ever challenge or to hold any of these entities guilty once you take that money. Am I understanding that right?
That is correct. Not only that, you never go to you never get to make any claim against them anymore. But if anybody makes a claim against them, you pay to defend them and you pay for whatever they are required to pay. Now you become their insurance company once you sign that document.
Okay, and that's very interesting because we don't have the probe report. We don't know who should be held accountable, whether it should be the airline, whether it should be the airplane manufacturers. Who is to be held accountable? We don't know yet. Is that what really troubles you? Do you think that this is a legal smokescreen trying to keep the truth hidden?
Precisely. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all, again, because we don't know who is at fault. We don't know what jurisdiction is going to be at play. But they want a blanket cover for everybody, no matter what jurisdiction, no matter what company, no matter who is at fault. They don't want anybody else to be called to account for what happened.
Mr. Chionuma, you are representing 105 such families who lost their loved ones in this crash. How do they respond at a time like this? When they are being told to accept the money, do they think that, yes, we should perhaps take it? Or are there those who are saying, for us, it's like blood money? Are they rejecting it? What are the thoughts in their minds at this time?
It is very confusing to a lot of families. It is very agonizing. You can understand going through the agony of the loss of your loved one, and now you're being faced with this type of financial questions. That is where we come in. We advise them very carefully, explain to them that it is not what the amount of money that's being offered to sign away your entire rights. Before you know the truth, you need to know what happened before you can make an informed decision as to what is right for you and your family going forward. This is a permanent situation for the families. You know, that their loved ones cannot be brought back. So this is it. We need to make sure that they are well protected going forward and that they make the right decision based on truthful information that is given to them.
Well, Air India, Mr. Chionuma, has said, and I'm going to quote them here, that 96% of the families have received this interim financial aid, and there is absolutely no coercion, no deadline for the families to accept this compensation. Is that right?
That's not exactly right. When you're dangling money in front of people, you're asking them to do something about it. And you're actually enticing them, which is another form of coercion, to come forward and accept the money and forgo all their rights. And just to point out the fact, some of these people do not even understand all the language contained in the release agreement, and they are not, being given appropriate legal counsel before they, make that decision. Luckily for our clients, they have legal counsel. We are looking at their offers. We are advising them not to do so. We hope that other families that do not have counsel will seek counsel and have a lawyer tell them what the right thing to do under the circumstances.
Well, unfortunately, there has been a year of time. The pain has not passed. But unfortunately, it is truth which remains elusive. And even today, we've been told that 1 year wasn't enough for this report to come out. And as attorney Chuck N. Chionuma tells us, he's advising his clients, don't take the ex gratia because we still don't know who's at fault, who should be held accountable. And why is that? Who's responsible for this delay? After all, justice delayed is justice denied. Appreciate it, Attorney Chionuma, for joining us here on the show on Decoding Now. With that, we wrap up the show. Thank you so much for watching.